Hey everybody, good afternoon. My name is Mr. Humphreys, and I am lucky enough to work with all the PE teachers within Alexandria City Public Schools. And I'm here with my daughter Mara today, who's going to help us out. Today, what we have is a 30-minute workout, a 30-minute video designed for our pre-K and kindergarten students that you can watch. Hopefully, someone at home can watch with you and maybe take the role that Mara or I will play so kids can have a partner in some of this learning. We're going to go over a couple of underhand throwing skills, a little bit of tossing and catching, some good hand-eye coordination things. Then we want to talk a little bit about fitness, how you can stay active at home, and a few other small things related to that. Okay, so before any kind of activity, of course, we want to warm our bodies up, right? We can't just roll out of bed and go right into sprinting. So what we have to do is gently warm up our bodies. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do something that we can do in this very small space. As you can see, we're in sort of a corner of a room here. We don't have much space and we want to be safe. I should take the time now to say that your PE teachers if you're in the gymnasium, or your coaches for softball or baseball or soccer or basketball, all of these adults make sure that you are safe in the space that you are working in. And we want to do the same here, okay? Mara and I took some time to clear the area on the floor so there weren't items we could trip over or slip on. We always have to be safe. Priority number one. Okay, so before you attempt this video, please find a spot in your house or apartment or wherever you're watching this where you have even a little bit of space that is safe, that you're able to move just a little bit. Okay, all right, so here's how we're going to warm up today. We call this toy soldiers. So it's kind of like a march. Okay, it's kind of like a march where our knees are going to come up. But the tricky part is I'm going to bring my opposite arm up when the knee comes up. So if I bring up my left knee, I'm going to bring up my right arm, and I'm going to get it nice and tall, and then they'll both drop together. Okay, so I'm just doing this. Looks a little funny. Mara's doing a nice job. Really important that the arm goes all the way up. You're probably watching this. Hopefully you're doing it at home thinking, oh, that looks so easy. Well, listen, I can tell you after about 30 seconds to a minute of this, you really feel in your heart, you feel your heart beating faster. Okay, we're doing a nice job of forcing a lot of muscles to work together here to keep that body moving. And that's all we're trying to do. As Mara continues this, we're trying to get the blood flow from her heart down to all of her muscles so they can work. And we want to warm up those things before we begin our process here this afternoon. Okay? Pretty warmed up, Mara?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. So, skill number one, as I mentioned, underhand tossing. Here's what you need to do. I'll give you a minute to do this. We grabbed, for this, you could grab tennis ball, any kind of a soft ball that you have around the house, or we like to use balled up socks. As you look at these things, we just took a pair of socks, Mara's socks, in fact, and just kind of crumpled them into a ball, and they work perfectly. They're sort of round, and they certainly won't do any damage when we toss them to each other if someone should happen to drop them or against the wall. So this is a great object for indoor use, okay? So today we're going to talk about underhand toss, how we do that correctly. Now, with any activity like this, whether it's shooting a basketball, kicking a soccer ball, I think of throwing a baseball, hitting a baseball, I always like to have a couple of cues, okay, a couple of points that we try to really teach so that everybody can understand. A couple of cues associated with underhand tossing are this. First and foremost, let's say Mara here is going to try to toss her softball right at the camera, right into your living room, okay? She's going to do a couple things. First of all, she is right-handed. This is the hand she writes with, she cuts things out with, she throws with. She is right-handed. So when she goes to throw, the first thing she's going to do with her off hand, her hand that is not the throwing hand, she's going to point at her target, which in this case is you. She's going to step with that same side foot opposite the throwing hand. She's going to step out with that. Then to toss correctly, she's going to just make a nice straight line or lever with this arm. She doesn't want it to go out back here because then it's going to come in this way and it won't go straight. So it has to come back straight and then go up straight. Then really the only hard part is where in here is she going to release it? Okay, now if you let me do this, if she releases it too soon, right here, it's going to go into the ground. If she releases it up here, it's going to go straight up. So she's going to try to release it somewhere in the middle, maybe around here, as it goes to its target. So let's let her try and do one right into the camera. Go ahead, Mara. Okay. As you can see, that was a pretty good one, right? So once again, let's watch her from scratch. She's going to point at her target, step with the opposite foot, get her arm ready to swing, and release. Okay, good. Right over the target. Nice work. Now, anytime we get a skill like this, we have to practice it, right? So what we're going to do is, Mara and I, since we have two people, we're just going to play catch. We're going to try to play catch for a couple minutes. If you don't have somebody else with you, a parent or a sibling or a relative, you can go ahead and do this right off of a wall. Here, I'll let Mara demonstrate that. If you're by yourself or someone else is busy, maybe they're working on something, Mara's going to point, step, and toss up against any kind of a wall that's safe. Okay, for us, this is a doorway. Now, what she's going to do is she's choosing a target. You can't see up here, but we put a little tiny spot up here for her to aim at every time because we want to be accurate. We want to know where our ball is going and we want to see if it went there. That's how we can determine if we've been successful or not. Okay, so she could do that on her own, just like that. It's also good practice at catching that ball. But since there's two of us, here's what we'll do. We're going to stand on opposite sides so you can still see both of us. And I'm just going to point, step, and toss to Mara, and she's going to do it back. Nothing too fancy here. Okay, like I said, this is also good practice at catching. I like to always give a target here as I'm getting ready to catch something. And because we're using a sock ball or something soft, if I can't quite catch it, nothing's going to get damaged, right? Okay, so we're going to practice this. We're going to go for 10 in a row. You try it too, okay? Catching and throwing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, good one, 5, 6, 7, that was a little speedy, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Okay, perfect, easy enough. Now, hopefully in your PE class, you've had the experience where after you get to practice something, it's time to go to gameplay. So we're going to do that here. Here's what we've done. Will you grab those other socks? We have over here on this corner, we've grabbed a laundry basket, which could easily be an old sweatshirt or a couple of pillows that just make some kind of an opening, okay? We put that laundry basket over here. We're going to have Mara come over here. And she's just where she can still be seen in our camera. Sorry, right there. And she's going to get 10 shots to see how many she can make in here. Okay, let's see how she does. Go ahead, Mara. Good. 1 for 1. 2 for 2. 3 for 3. Okay, so you get the idea. Let's say Mara continued and she was able to make 8 out of 10. Great. Maybe a half hour later, after doing some reading or listening to a story, she can try it again and try to beat that record. That's the nice thing about an activity like this is you can always compete against yourself. Try to do better the next time, whether that's later that day, the next day, or a week later. This is a very important skill to have, and it builds some good coordination for your involvement with sports and fun activities. So it's a great thing to practice. Okay, so great job there. Moving on. want to lightly touch on one other fun thing that I think is important to teach right around this, or I should say, we're able to teach in a setting like this where we just have a small space, and that is just some kind of tossing and catching. Okay, so Mara, go ahead and just toss that thing up and just catch it as I talk. Okay, right now Mara is tossing with one hand and catching with two. This might seem simple, and I know Mara makes it look easy. She's a sixth grader, so she's had a lot of practice with this. But this is a great way to build that hand eye coordination. Get your brain and your muscles working together. Okay. She's not throwing it extremely high. I used to say to my students, barely over your head. We don't even need to throw it much higher than the top of your head. We don't need to try to touch the ceiling or throw it way over our head so we have to run and catch it. We don't want to move our feet at all. You'll notice that Mara is staying in place, which is great. So the idea would be that as we throw it up, we create our target, we track it with our eyes, and we make a soft landing, as Mara's doing every time. Okay, she's watching it up, watching it down into her hands. Okay, pretty easy, like I said. If this becomes too easy with two hands, Mara can switch to throwing it with her, again, with her strong hand and catching it with just one strong hand. So she's right handed, so she could throw it up with her right and then catch it with her right. This is definitely more challenging than catching it with both hands. If you're able to master this, if you can get maybe 10 in a row without dropping, then you want to move to throwing it up with your strong hand and catching it with your other hand. Maybe your non dominant hand. I've heard some people say that's a nice way. We don't really want to call it your weak hand because it's just not that it's weak, but it's not the one you dribble and write with. So let's see how Mara does. Throws it with the right, catches it with the left. Okay, good. And of course, we can always graduate to throwing it up with our other hand. So even though Mara's right-handed, let's see how she does throwing it up, tossing it up with her left hand. Right? That's a little more challenging. You'll notice that her arm looks a little different. It's not quite as coordinated simply because she has not practiced as much over the years with that left hand. Those of you that are really into basketball, you'll find out your coaches really want you to practice dribbling and shooting with both hands because that really helps the development of the body and helps you have an edge or an advantage over your opponents. Okay, so as we bring this to a close, I'd like to mention you can use almost anything, again, indoors that you have. We don't want to throw up, something that's too hard or might break. I don't think we want to grab a glass and do this because that could break, right? But anything like a tennis ball or a plastic ball or one of your shoes, even if you're in the right spot where there's nothing breakable around you, is a fine thing to throw up and catch. Okay, so thank you, Mara. So we've been through the underhand throw. And again, that's something you've got to keep practicing. That's really a nice skill, whether you can put your laundry basket or something out as a target or just play catch with a friend or a parent or even off the wall. Okay, practice that. And then just tossing and catching. I used to tell my own kids, Mara has a brother and a sister, that maybe in between, if they're watching TV, in between the commercials for a show, you can work on a skill like that. All right, pretty easy stuff. Now we want to change gears a little bit. We're about halfway through. Thanks again for joining us. We want to talk and show you a couple things that have to do more with health than PE, right? Hopefully you've heard your teachers be called health/PE teachers or health and PE teachers because there's more than just physical education that they're teaching you. They're teaching you health education. They're teaching you about your heart and how important of a muscle that is. They're teaching you as you get a little bit older about good nutrition, what we eat, why it's important to have a variety of foods and not just eat chicken nuggets and potato chips all day. We need to vary those foods. So we want to talk about that health portion, okay? So first and foremost, let's talk about some things that we can do at home to continue to help our bodies grow and thrive and be healthy. Okay, so what we just did is fine and it's great, and that is activity. And if you can do that at home, awesome. Mara and I want to show you one other thing that we like to do that can help you as far as building strength. Sorry, Mara, you stay over there. Okay, so when we're at home and we don't have access to our gym at school or even the playground, many of you probably can't go to the playground at a time like this. Here's one way that we can try to build some strength, make our muscles stronger during this time. We call this our full body warm up or workout. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of target our muscles starting at the lower end of our bodies, moving all the way up through a series of activities. And I'm going to kind of mess with the camera angle so you can really see what Mara's doing. And I'll have her do the exercises. Okay, so first, we're going to target those muscles right behind, right under our knees on the back of our legs, our calf muscles right here. Okay, so watch what Mara's going to do to activate those calf muscles. She's simply going to do foot raises. Go ahead, Mara. That's right. About every second, she's going to go up on her toes as high as she can. Just hold it for a second and come back down. Nothing magical here, but this really attacks those muscles right behind her shins. Okay, this is a great warm up, and it's a great way to build some strength back there. As you get older, you'll see people who go to the gymnasium and they'll put weights on their shoulders to add more weight, and they'll do this just to build those muscles even more. We don't need to get into that, but just to know this exercise would be great. Maybe 10 or 15 of those, okay? Then we want to target some of these very, very, very strong muscles moving up the body. Our quadriceps on the top here, and some of the muscles on the back, okay? Our hamstrings, and even some of the muscles in our bottoms, which are really strong and help us to run and push. So what Mara's going to do is some squats, okay? Watch how she does this. She's going to spread her legs about shoulder width apart, and she's going to, keeping her back straight, she's just going to bend down so that her knees are almost parallel with the ground, just like that. Hold that for a second and go up. Okay, as she's doing this, one set of muscles kind of help her bend down. Another set helps her to spring back up. So this is really good practice and a great way to build some strength in those legs. Okay, this would get very tiring. So Mara's probably starting to feel it a little bit in her legs, maybe even start to sweat. Like I said, you'll see people as you get older in the gymnasium, they will put all sorts of weight on their shoulders and they will do this exercise. They call them squats because you're squatting down. But just doing what Mara's doing is a great way to start. Again, maybe 10, 15, or 20 of those, okay? Now, as we continue, take a break, Mara. As we continue up our bodies, let's next attack our abs, our stomach muscles, kind of our whole core area. Mara is going to show you a pretty neat exercise I think you'll enjoy. And, you know, sit-ups, you've probably heard of that. And you can do sit-ups, and that helps too. Sometimes I worry that people aren't using their hands and necks properly, and they're kind of pulling on their necks, and they might get neck pain. So I don't really like to do those traditional sit-ups. As you get older, you'll learn how to do them properly. But right now, here's a great one to do. We call this a Russian twist. Mara's going to sit on her bottom and more toward her tailbone, actually. She's going to lift her feet off the ground, keep her back straight, and she's going to almost pretend like she's holding a ball, and she's going to touch the ball to both sides of her like that. Okay, that's pretty good, Mara. It forces her muscles have to turn her in one direction and to the other. And with her legs in the air like that, they really are doing some work. So she's doing a very nice job. Probably 30 of those, she would be really wiped out. So that's a great one. Okay, that's a Russian twist, and it really helps the core stomach muscles. All right, Mara. So lastly, we've done, if you want to stand up, we've done these calf muscles. We've moved up with our squats into here. We just did our stomach. Now, as we try to get our chest muscles, our shoulders, and our arms, we're just going to try and do some good old-fashioned push-ups, okay? So Mara's going to get on the ground. Now here we want to make sure, I'll really test Mara here. We don't want our bottoms way high in the air. Mara, what does that look like? If you almost, yeah, see that? And then you just kind of put your head down. See, that's not a push-up, right? So what we try to do is we try to make this flat. And then Mara's going to just bend her arms and go all the way down. That's a very nice push-up, okay? Do one more of those, Mara. Nice. Now, if you do a number of those or even one or two and you feel like it's very tiring, go ahead, get in great form again, and then just drop to your knees. Drop to your knees. Try to keep your back straight again. So, Mara, bring your arms up a little more. So put them here, don't put them here. And that way her back is a little straighter and she can continue to do the push-up. There we go. It's not quite as hard, but it's still a challenge, and she's still working all of these muscles, her arms, her chest muscles, and her shoulders. Triceps and biceps a little bit, mostly triceps. That's right. Okay, so good. Great job, Mara. So, sorry, let me get that back. So that idea of that full body workout, and you could watch that again, or you could write them down. Maybe you were as we were doing it. That full body workout really can build some strength, right? Starting down here, we have the calf raisers, toe raisers. We have our squats like this. We then do our Russian twists where we're sitting and doing this. And then we have our push-ups, either regular or on our knees. So that's one way to really help the strength in our bodies, make our muscles stronger. How about making our heart stronger? I know that you, after you go out for recess and you've played soccer or you've played tag or you've run around with friends, you put your hand on your heart and it's really beating fast. I like to tell my students that's your body saying thank you for working so hard. Now, how can we achieve that at home? As you can see, Mara and I do not have the room to play soccer or anything running around. We can't shoot baskets in here, so we don't have much space. So here are a couple of things that we can do. First and foremost, I love this one. If you're able to do a little bit of jumping in this space, meaning if you're, let's see, maybe the lowest level of your house, or if you live in an apartment and it's the first floor, or if you're just somewhere where a little bit of jumping is okay.
Even outside.
Outside is a great way to do it if you can do that outside. Pretend you have a jump rope, imaginary, and just start jumping rope. I'm going to swing my arms and I'm just going to pretend I'm jumping rope. Mara, keep doing that. It's not going to be perfect, even if Mara is not an expert. Since she has no rope, it's never going to get caught. She can just keep jumping and swinging her arms, and her heart is really working here. She can do fancy things. She can pretend she's doing a double Dutch cross there. She's jumping funny with her feet. All that is great. And this is excellent, excellent exercise for our bodies. Okay, Mara, stop. Put your hands on your heart. Is it going pretty fast? Is it telling you thank
boom,
you?
Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, so that's one way to really get your heart moving. One other way that we showed you earlier with our warm-up was our toy soldiers, okay? Remember this? Opposite arm and knee up. We can make it a little more difficult if we straighten our knee and we kick our feet out straight. Good, Mara, that's good. It's taking a lot of muscles and coordination for her to do that and for her to really pull up those legs and that arm. You can't really see it, but she's breathing heavily. She's been working hard. That is a great activity. Okay, great activity. Number 3, I'm going to again put the camera on Mara here. This, in my opinion, is the number one thing in a small space to really get your cardio up, meaning your lungs stronger so you can run around longer. Okay, to build those heart muscles, we have to really challenge it and we have to work hard at getting tired like this. How many of you have ever heard of a burpee? Okay, do you see Mara's face? Watch what Mara does. What you're going to do in a burpee is first you kind of either jump or stretch up. And we're indoors, so maybe it's just a stretch. She stretches up, then she's going to go down, put her hands to the ground, kick her legs out, maybe even mix in a push up, kick her legs back up, and then stretch again, right? And then down, legs out, push up if she wants. Mara, show us one without a push up. Just kind of kick your legs out and up, out, and up. Good. That's an excellent burpee. Okay. All right. Good, Mara. Pause on that. So, 3 quick ways indoors that you can really boost your cardiorespiratory strength and endurance. Okay. We talked about those toy soldiers. We talked about jumping invisible rope, and of course, the burpees. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about, we only have a couple minutes left here. Hopefully, your teachers have either talked about this or probably we're going to during the fourth quarter, is identifying different activities that you are able to do with your friends and family. Okay, so Mara's like I said, a 6th grader. Mara, how can you stay active, or how do you stay active at home? What are a couple things you can do with your friends, with your brothers and sisters, or me and your mom? What are some things you can do that are physically active?
Well, we can play tag with our other siblings, and
Okay.
we're running around a lot, so that makes our heart run. And we also can walk a dog.
Yeah, we have a dog. I wish we could have him up here on video. And so we often like to take him probably twice a day. I try to recruit 2 or 3 of these people, and we just go on a nice walk. Maybe we bring a football or something. Scooter, rollerblades, right? Get it moving that way. That's a lot of fun. The other big one for me personally, and I hope you've seen this at your school, riding bikes. When you get into 3rd grade, we have our Bicycles in the Schools program, and that's something that I've been lucky enough to kind of start and follow through with at every single school, every single elementary, all 14 of them. We have been able to get bikes over there, so the 4th graders get helmets, and they learn how to put them on, and they learn how to be safe, and they get out on those bikes and they ride. And I hope you've seen that at your school. Maybe an older brother or sister has been able to see those. Mara loves to ride her bike. I love riding my bike. Whether we just ride around the block a few times or we ride up to a certain park or a certain point, it's just so fun, and it's such good heart healthy activity to ride your bike. Okay, so that's kind of another way. And as Mara said, playing tag, just being silly is a great thing to do with your friends. Making up a game where you're moving around. Um, you know, if you're able to find that space outside to do it, that would be great. Indoors, you often have to be a little more creative. Okay, and I know this is a funny time where a lot of us are kept indoors, and so that's why we're trying to give you some of these activities. You can do it in a fairly small space. Okay, so in our last minute here, let's review. First, thanks to you very much for tuning in. Mara and I showed you how to do an underhand toss, right? We talked about, let's do it, Mara, pointing, stepping opposite, and then straight arm throw, right? We talked about how important it is to build those hand-eye coordination skills with just tossing something in the air. And it seems simple, and I bet you're great at it, but it is so good for your coordination as you get older and you want to play on that basketball or volleyball or soccer team. This is a great start. We then talked a little bit about ways that we can build our strength at home with all the different exercises for our bodies, push-ups and the Russian twists and the squats and the toe raisers. And then we talked about how to get our hearts moving and the importance of that endurance and building that strength and that stamina. Invisible jump rope. We talked about our toy soldiers, and we had one more in there, burpees for people that really wanted to get after it. So and then we ended by talking about what you do And I wish we could sort of talk back and forth and I could find out the many ways that you stay active at home with families and friends. So hopefully you were able to get something out of this time. We encourage you to keep on moving. It's so important. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Okay. Thanks to you, Mara. We appreciate her help and we hope to see you again soon. So long.
Bye.